All right, so we're gonna tape the transom in.
Yeah.
First, we have to clean up all the corners, surround all the corners over good, clean up the excess glass on the edges from our seams. We're gonna do 3 layers of fiberglass tape, 12, 8, and 4 wide, all on top of each other, and then we're gonna go up all the way around, from the bridge deck all the way around to the bottom corner here is approximately 8'6". Would leave us a little long. So we're gonna cut everything 8'6". We'll be able to get all the pieces out of one pull of fiberglass for both sides. So we're gonna set up to lay the fiberglass out, cut it all, and then I'll sand everything quick, and we'll be ready to start glassing the transom in. Alright guys, so we are hitting that time of year where the weather's too cold to fiberglass. We were going to glass the transom in today, and we're only pushing 50 degrees, so we're holding off for a little bit warmer weather. Hopefully it's going to warm up tomorrow and the next day, so I'll be able to get that done. I'm going to switch gears and start cutting out motor wells. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough lay out everything. I'm going to cut the main squares with the skill saw, and then I'll be able to take the 2 smaller pieces and actually bring them down into our little wood shop that we have set up downstairs in the basement, and we'll be able to cut those and prep everything to get that installed once the transom is glassed in place. Alright guys, so I'm just about set up here, ready to go. This will be the majority of the wood used on the boat, aside from trim. There are a few other small pieces to reinforce windshields, but the motor wells are one of the main parts that uses plywood actually. We're using 1-inch thick marine grade ply for this, or I believe it's 25 millimeter, something like that. So yeah, we're gonna rip this up to accommodate what we need. We're actually going to double up this back layer, 2 layers thick, so that'll be the back of the motor well. I'll glue those together, and yeah, we'll be good to go. For tools, just so everybody knows, like, we don't use any real expensive tools. They're just general Home Depot, Lowe's, your big box hardware store tools. I'm using the skill saw with a decent blade on it. We picked up this Craig AccuCut system. It's worth the money, you know, if you don't want to spend a ton of money on a track saw, you know, a high dollar track saw. This thing clamps right down to your skill saw. It gives you a nice straight cut every time, and you literally just line up the edge of your track saw here with your line, and you run your saw right down it. So it gives a nice clean cut, and well worth the investment. No, we're not sponsored on any of this stuff, but just figured I'd let you guys know, like, we're not using anything super expensive. A lot of hand-me-down tools for this project, and you know, again, stuff that you can easily access at the local hardware store. So all right, well, I'm gonna start cutting here, and we'll go from there. Alright, so if you guys noticed, I took the track saw off I think my blade's just about shot, starting to walk a little bit. So it's easier for me to freehand a straight line than it was with the track. So I was actually leaving a kind of an arch in the cut. So I cleaned everything up freehand, and I'll continue on freehand from here. Alright guys, so today, obviously it's raining, hopefully you can hear me well enough. Yesterday we were going to glass the transom in. We opted not to because it was a little too cold. The temperature's definitely up to par today. It is raining, so it's a little loud in here, but not a big deal. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to sand all the edges, you know, just to give a nice radius on the corners, as well as to give it some good adhesion for the glass that's going to wrap all the corners of this transom here. So I'll sand all that down quick, and then what I'll do is I'll wipe everything with a acetone, and from there we will start glassing. That should be about it. So I'll put you guys on time lapse, and hope you enjoy the show. I just finished sanding all the sides to give it a little bit of tooth, and I wanted to show you what I meant when I say that. So you can see where I've sanded this about 6-7 inch strip here, and that's where my glass is going to overlap. But if you look at this, how shiny it is, and again, with the reflection of the light, and then come back to where I did, and it's roughed up, and that's what I mean by just giving a little bit of tooth. I'm not actually sanding through the fiberglass. I'm just sanding enough to give it the next layer, something to bite on. So that's all done now. I just have to wipe everything down with some acetone, and then we'll be ready to start fiberglassing. Alright guys, today we're using the same Total Boat 2-to-1 resin. What I'm going to do first, I'm just going to mix a little bit with the silica thickener. All from Total Boat. If you guys want a discount, use our code Dauntless. I believe it's 15% off. You have to use that at totalboat.com. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to mix some filler. I'm going to just fill any low spots I may see. Most of this is pretty good. Just a couple little spots, like there's a little gouge right here. So I'm just going to fill that in. And then a couple of the spots on the edges, just where it's a little bit low. I'll just touch that up before we start glassing. Alright guys, so what I'm doing here is these bristles are long. When you go to dab the glass to try to saturate it, it flex too much. So I just trimmed about half of the bristles off, halfway across here. And it gives us a little bit more oomph to really get that resin into any air bubbles or anything like that. So it's a nice easy way to solve the problem, you know. Alright guys, so the transom's all glassed in, 3 layers, 3 different widths. I did have to slice the corners here to get everything to lay down without big wrinkles. Just for my peace of mind, I added these little triangle pieces on the corners just to really lock everything together, as well as here. I glassed everything in, but I had to make a slit and it actually left a V. So I went over the top of this with just another piece of glass on both sides, just to kind of give myself peace of mind. Like I say, I don't know if it was necessary or not, but it's done now and we're going with it. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. So yeah, transom's done, fully glassed. Hopefully it's rock solid when we're done here, and we'll give it a go. I still have to do the underside of the swim platform here, which I'll probably do when we flip the boat over, as well as I have to do the same exact thing on the inside all the way around, 3 full layers, different widths. For now, we're going to continue on. I'm going to build the motor wells out of plywood. I started them last night because it was too cold for fiberglass. So I'm going to go work on that now. It's still only noontime or so. If I can get everything cut today for the motor wells, tomorrow hopefully I can give this a quick sand and start actually gluing them in. So if all goes well, I'll have the motor wells installed by the end of the week here, and I can start fairing the boat at any time. Where once this dries, I can start fairing everything bow to stern. So exciting times. Alright guys, so we're downstairs in our little wood shop we have here. These are going to be the motor wells. I started cutting everything out yesterday. Just got to finish cutting up these sides for the motor wells. Going to make a radius on this corner here and then this corner here. Alright guys, so one tip of advice whenever you're tracing stuff out, always mark your original to the exact marks you need, the exact radiuses and angles and all that. Label it a pattern and use that to mark every single piece. Don't mark one and then cut it and then use that one to mark the next one. It'll exponentially get bigger all the way through. So if you do 4 pieces, by the time you're done, you could be upwards of 1/4 of an inch off on your final piece. It'll be bigger, but it's, you know, more of a pain in the butt than it's worth. So always mark your pattern and, as I say, use that to mark all your pieces. Alright guys, so we have to laminate 2 layers of 25 mil ply together, so 2 layers for each motor well, and I'm going to use some Total Boat 2-to-1 resin with fast hardener, and yeah, I'm just going to mix up some resin, a little bit of silica in there to thicken it up a little bit, and we'll clamp it up and let it sit for the night, and then we should be able to cut our final angles on these and start assembling motor wells. I'm not going too thick with the mixture tonight. I want it to be more like almost like a wood glue consistency, so nothing too crazy here. And obviously don't breathe this stuff. Always stand downwind. Stand upwind, not downwind. So it's a pretty good little runny consistency, but not bad. I'm happy with that. right up on edge. Make sure everything's flush here. We will start tonight. That's good there. Okay. Alright, and that's it. We'll let those sit overnight, let them dry good, and then tomorrow I'll be able to cut the angles on them, clean them all up, and hopefully start installing motor wells, or at least gluing them together. Why are you pointing at me?
What are we doing today?
I don't know. What are we doing?
We are finishing off the transom today.
Okay, and how are we finishing off the transom?
Everything you just said to me is out in one ear and out the other.
You should turn that camera around here. Alright guys, so transom is all glassed in, 3 full layers, 3 different widths here. I'm sorry.